guys, and welcome back to the channel. So before we dive into this one, drop a sub, drop a like, hit the notifications bell. It's really going to help you keep up to date with what we've got going on here. So there's been a recent change on the chain, which is it's a little bit shocking for me, and I'm going to try break it down as best as I can from the perspective that I'm thinking from. So to actually understand this, we kind of need to go backwards in time and look at the real core issues of this chain. And it was rent-seeking validators, very poor decentralization of voting power, and ultimately a lot of us were struggling and things needed to change. And that's kind of what we worked towards with this. And with the DCM, there were things that I suggested should be made part of that. That was completely not, I would say completely ignored, but it was just not really acknowledged, and the DCM went ahead with the current structure that it has. And we've got a very greed-based system, and everything's really driven around greed at the moment. And the reason why I'm starting to see this more clearly now is because we've got a lot of new validators joining the slim active set now, and a lot of these, what I like to call paper cut validators, they've suddenly understood that validating this chain, you didn't really get a lot, and that it was very spread thin, and what you did get wasn't worth a lot anyway. And they've had a taste of that. They realized they could get more by making simple changes. And if this was such a simple thing, right, we would have suggested this way back in the past. But the biggest issue is when you do this kind of thing, and I've always been on the fence with this until recently, and it's because of the specific fact that we introduced the DCM to decentralize things, and we've completely done the opposite of that by slimming the active set from 130 down to 100. And this is very greedy. Around 113 validators are not getting rewards anymore, and that kind of sucks, because validating this chain isn't just validating this chain, right? If, for example, anybody creates a node at the moment, they've got one of three things they're doing. They're burning from the they're burning from the Oracle rewards pool. They're funding the L1 team, even though we don't have any L1 development teams that are being funded anymore. Or we're just seeing coins being launched, right? If everybody does that exact same thing, which is what everybody's currently doing, then the chain's never going to go anywhere. It's never going to get to a point, right, where there's things to do, there's liquidity moving, and we've got all of these interesting things going on. Each validator's like a island, and each island more or less needs to contribute to the major island that more or less sustains their ecosystem, because ultimately it's a give-give relationship. As a validator, you need to earn something in order for you to do something. But if, for example, we've got a lot of these paper cut validators, we're not really going to see anything built. We're going to see the very easy options chosen to be followed. And a good example, and it kind of sucks, is that if we even had a validating base that did 50% of what we've managed to achieve just as our little node and pushing on what we've pushed on, the chain would be in a lot better place. And this is a pretty drastic change, and what you've actually done is you've bred 113 validators that now hate the chain. They're going to go off, they're going to say, yeah, they've really done the small guys over, they removed our opportunities. And it really is like that, because you wanted more, and because your greed has led you to this reminiscence of, we can reduce the active set down to 100 validators and the rest of us can get more. Well, all we've done here is make the rich richer, and that's specifically those at the top. That's who's really getting the most at the moment. They're really, and the saddest part about this chain is our validating base is mostly built up of rent-seeking nodes that are validating this chain, right? But they're actually validating many other chains, and they're mainly working on all of these other chains, but they're not working on LUNC. And if anything, it's a rolling joke to them, and it's just a money pool for them to grab from. We've known this for a long time. So all this has done is removed quite a lot of new nodes that were up and coming that could have the possibility of bringing new tools, all of the different things that we need. Instead, what we're starting to see is the more like people who are influencers, for all sake and purposes. People call me an influencer, but I also develop stuff. I've brought a lot of different stuff for this chain forward, and that's what we need. When we created the metric site, what happened? Everybody created the metric site. We created an AC module. What happened? Well, we had to give it to everybody because of the simple fact no one was going to develop it themselves. And that's where we're at. We're at a point now where we can build anything we want. We can do anything we want at a development scale. But if the validators aren't doing what validators should be doing, and that is developing cool stuff for users to use, and this is so important in times like this. So you've seen a major price pump. Okay, you've seen this major pump. So we get to here, right? And all of these people that you have obtained moving forward are now sitting there thinking to themselves, well, what can I even do with my LUNC? Nothing? Cool. All right, sell it. And this is called user retention. And user retention in crypto is so important because shipping something out to you, the user base, is actually quite costly. A lot of chains pay advertisement and do all sorts of different sort of things they can do to ship it out to people to get them involved in it. When we have a price pump, this is free shipping, and people, they run around, they look for news. You've done it yourself, right? And it's at this point, as a chain, we need to work on user retention, and user retention comes down to validators on this chain. Yes, we're validating. Yes, we're doing a job in itself, which is just validating the chain, but ultimately you're getting money from the chain and you should be giving something back in the long haul. If that's building some cool arbitrage tool or some kind of, I don't know, trading bot, or there's so many different things you can do. For example, I built a hatchery with my NFT system where you had to make penguins together and do all of these different cool things. I've got USTC airdrop system. I've got all of these cool tools that I've provided to my user base to retain them. Like I said, this is called user retention. It's so important. And as it stands, the environment that's now being bred once again, which is what we've actually worked so hard to get rid of, is this greedy idea of more for me. Oh, 130, no, it's way too much. And the lowest person only had 1.86 million LUNC. Yes, because we're crap at user retention. Most of our validators are built up from greedy people. And if this continues to happen, right, what's going to happen is we do these major run-ups and we've got absolutely nothing to keep it going. And then what happens? You reduce the active set from 130 down to 100, and you've just created a load of more or less angry people, right? There could possibly be people who are just redelegated to those nodes. Now they're stuck for 21 days. They're not getting rewards. They jump there for the 0% commission. And realistically, you're upsetting a lot of people as you do this kind of thing. And it's these small changes that have very drastic effects on the overall system, the overall sentiment behind things. And all of these new users that are looking for information have probably gone and seen that there's people moaning and explaining, oh, well, you know, I redelegated my coins to a 0% commission node because I wanted more rewards. And I've seen this already. And that's kind of why I'm bringing it up, is because of the fact that we've actually generated a load more hateful users. We've created another generation of hate for the chain, and we've got people who've come to the chain, oh, I'm going to dip my toe a little bit. They have a bad experience, they sell, and they do not return after that. And the likelihood of us keep on doing this over and over again and sort of riding the bike and shoving a stick in it, this is where it's going to land, and this is where it's going to end up. And the thing is we've got a lot of undelegations that are currently set over the next 21 days, right, to come out. And those people are going to make a decision. Do I sell? Do I get out of this now whilst there is a huge pump after this huge downtrend? Is that going to be another downtrend which continues? There's a lot of skepticism, a lot of speculation, a lot of different things, when realistically what we could have done is just in the first place worked on perfect user retention, but we don't. And nobody's working on this kind of stuff. And like I've said to people recently, right, I only have so much time in my life now. With the amount of time I put into LUNC and, you know, accumulating debt over the time as a node operator, it's not a nice feeling for someone like me who's worked so hard to bring a decentralized environment, make it more fair for people, for a specific group of people to just go, do you know what? Let's reduce the active set. Let's make more money for ourselves. And once again, let's get what we can get before it all collapses. And in my tweet that I put out at the top of it, I made sure it was at the top of it for the specific reason that people understand that we have a huge amount of rent-seeking validators who are the major validators on this chain. They're like the top 10 validators, and they're all working on Luna. They don't care about this chain. I'm going to be doing a video diving into as to why Luna users hate this chain so much, and the realism of why it is the way it is. And it's going to be real abstract, and I think it's going to lay things out how they should be. And hopefully it starts to remove the friction, because we've just kind of put it out there and stuff like that. Folks, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. If there's a next one, I don't know. What do you think?